The New Delhi government has been trying to help to improve the nursery admission process for the 2014 year in many ways. They are also causing a significant amount of controversy in doing this. The Right to Education Act, or RTE, excludes nursery schools, and this allows nursery schools to screen children for admissions, even though all other public New Delhi elementary schools are not allowed to. Pleas have been filed to have nursery schools put under the RTE Act that was passed in 2009 to prevent the screening of children for admissions. The government has previously given permission to private, unaided, recognized schools to decide their own guidelines for nursery admissions.
The Delhi High Court today said that there will be no change in the criteria for nursery admissions in Delhi schools, while saying that the government should consider necessary amendments to the Right to Education Act to include nursery admissions as well. The court further added that there cannot be different yardsticks for nursery admissions, and it is up to the state government to provide rights to kids going to nursery.
Though we have had held that the RTE Act is not applicable to nursery schools, in our opinion there cannot be any different yardstick to be adopted for education of children up to the age of 14 years, irrespective of the fact that it applies to elementary education. This was said by a lawyer about the situation and ongoing issue. The High Court gave the government 3 months to decide to amend the RTE Act and include nursery admissions in the Right to Education Act. In another event, an interim order was supposed to be put in place before a final decision was voted on. But despite many pleas, petitions, and protests, the Supreme Court does not want to prevent an interim or temporary order. The Supreme Court wants to advance the scheduled hearing on March 11th. There are many pleas against moving up the scheduled hearing and stated that there were guidelines against moving the hearing. Some petitioners are for the advanced hearing and no interim order, while others want the interim order and the March 11th hearing to stay the same.
Breaking news coming in this hour from the Supreme Court on nursery admission guidelines. No interim relief for schools. The case has been adjourned till next Friday. Private unaided schools had appealed against the Delhi High Court verdict that had said that guidelines issued by Lieutenant Governor to stay on nursery admissions.
In an attempt to help to improve the admission process in nursery schools for the 2014 year, Lieutenant Governor Naib Jung issued new strict nursery guidelines. The Delhi Education Directorate will monitor the admissions for the whole year. A helpline number was issued for parents to call with any of their complaints against the public school system. Officers were told they should go into immediate action if they receive any complaint.
Moral education is an issue in all of the schools throughout Japan. The Japanese government will introduce moral education classes, which were previously just an extracurricular activity. The main purpose of these classes are to prevent crimes and bullying in young people. Only textbooks that are approved by the Ministry of Education are to be used, just as other classes. This gives the material taught in schools no variety and is a problem in all Japanese schools.
Mr. Kanamori is 57 years old. He believes the world values life less every day. He believes a teacher's job is to show how precious life is. Other teachers visit his class to watch and learn.
さあ、そうするとこれは何だろう。はい、手挙げて。手挙げてくれ。
Japanese language class. The character means to wrap or enfold. Kanamori says it evolved from the image of a woman carrying an unborn child.
今の言い方だったらずっとさっきからズボーっと抜けてるのはこれだよ。人のことばっかりやがいや。自分やってたよって誰も言ってないじゃないですか。かっこよすぎるんだよ。勉強できないから笑っていたでしょう、自分が。ちゃいますか。風呂入らない言ってたでしょ。聞いてたでしょ。広めたでしょ。 違いますか？ここにいる多くの人は。いつ手紙ノートにやめようって言いました？
Kanamori tells his grade 4s to think it over and get out the notebooks.
On December 13, 2013, Hakuin-ban Shimonora, the Minister of Japan, received 2 proposals from the Central Council for Education to reform the boards of education. Lately, the boards of education have not been doing their part in solving various school situations in Japan. Many of these incidents have led to deaths of children and them getting into major trouble. The major issue is bullying. Many kids have committed suicide because of being bullied by other students.
Focused a lot on this program over the years on the problem of bullying and how a lot of us today don't take it seriously enough. Some adults think it's, just a rite of passage, something that all kids go through. But while many kids do go through it, not all of them survive.
In October 2011, a 2-year junior in high school from Otsu, Japan, jumped to his death after being physically bullied by his classmates. This event hit headlines all across the globe. This was the spark to the Minister of Japan and the Central Council of Education to take a stand. The first proposal suggested that the boards of education's power should be limited and give the local government more power, and give the local government the final decision to all the problems school-related. The second proposal suggested that the Board of Education should still have the same amount of power, but also gives them the control of the local education administration. The locals did not agree with either of these proposals. Instead, they want to make small changes to the system they have now. To this day, the government has still not made a decision to stay with the same system or to go with one of the proposals.
In the past year, China began an education reform whose end goal is to reduce the impact of standardized test scores on Chinese students' school applications. Chinese school boards are now aiming to focus on aspects such as student engagement, boredom, anxiety, and happiness when they are admitting students. The ministry released its 10 regulations to lessen academic burden for primary school students to the public in early December of 2013. Among all of the regulations on the published draft, the following 3 are the most crucial. Schools must admit all students based on their application without considering any other factors such as achievement certificates or examination results. No written homework is allowed in primary school. However, schools can assign observational homework by working with parents. Students are guaranteed a minimum of 1 hour of physical exercise each day and the offering of physical education classes, physical exercise, and eye exercise during recess.
Beijing has reduced the emphasis on English for the college testing exam. How big of a deal is this?
I think it's a pretty big deal because I can understand why the Chinese would decide that they'd like to focus more on children learning Chinese. However, one of the things that has made Chinese students so competitive internationally is that they are able to compete in an era when English is the language in this country.
Why was this decision made? Why do you think?
I think that China is looking and saying it's a lot of money and a lot of time to learn a language that isn't native to our country.
Instead, students can take English tests if they are organized by social organizations. Those tests can be taken more than once in the same year, and only the student's highest score will be used in his or her college application.